Moving over to Lebanon for our next story, and Hezbollah, in a recent statement, has strongly asserted that it has a legitimate right to defend itself against Israel, and also confirmed support for the Lebanese Army. The armed group from Lebanon has also rejected any political negotiations with Tel Aviv. This comes as Israel warns that it may intensify operations against Hezbollah. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has further accused the group of rearming and said Israel would act if Lebanon fails to prevent its territory from becoming a new battlefront for what it calls militant actions. In a latest development, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has instructed the army to respond to any Israeli incursions in the south after Israeli forces crossed the border and killed a municipal employee. Just last Sunday, Israeli forces killed 4 Hezbollah members as Defense Minister Katz urged Lebanon to disarm the group and remove it from southern Lebanon. Now, Peter Baum joins us once again. Peter, of course, we have to bear in mind that a ceasefire was signed between Hezbollah and Israel in November of 2024. Now, Israel said today that within the past month, 20 Hezbollah operatives, or what it calls Hezbollah operatives, alleged Hezbollah operatives, were killed over the past month. Hezbollah says it has the right to defend itself. How do you see this as its rhetoric? Is it preparing for wider confrontation?
Definitely. Hezbollah is trying to rebuild itself after its catastrophic defeat during the two-year war that Israel and Hamas were going through. It's trying to recruit more people. It's trying to regenerate arms supply via Iran. But Hezbollah has a problem, and that is it no longer can rely on the support of Iran as it did before, because Iran itself is very weakened, and it certainly cannot rely on any support from the new regime in Syria, which are diametrically opposed to the Iranian regime and to Hezbollah. So the statements must be considered carefully, and there is no doubt that Hezbollah, as an institution politically, is nowhere near defeated. Militarily has been battered, but is trying nevertheless to rearm itself. What is interesting is that Iran shielded herself pre-October 7th with proxies such as Hezbollah and the Houthis, Hamas, etc. And in its northern border, Israel actually herself, apart from her own ability to fight Hezbollah, is also being assisted undoubtedly by the Syrian regime, and also, despite President Aoun's statements, by Lebanon, who are committed under pressure from President Trump to disarm Hezbollah. Unfortunately, the Lebanese army for years has been underfunded and still has quite a number of Shia Muslims within its ranks. So it's going to be very difficult for the Lebanese army to act impartially and to try and achieve the objectives that President Trump wants it to achieve. But the current Lebanese administration know only too clearly well that they cannot grow economically as a nation with a military group like Hezbollah still very influential in its affairs. So I do suspect that though Hezbollah will try to regroup and rearm, I think that they will come across 3 players now, which they never have before, being the Syrian regime, Israel, and the Lebanese army themselves, that will try and ensure that their influence is nothing like it was in the very recent past.
Yeah, but Peter, of course, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has instructed the army to respond to any Israeli incursions in the south. This comes after Israeli forces crossed an agreed border and killed a municipal employee. Israel says it wants to work with the Lebanese government. If it continues doing actions like this, coming into land that it says it's not going to, how can it expect to work with Joseph Aoun and his army in disarming Hezbollah?
Very good question. But Thomas, you have to understand, I'm sure you do, that the Lebanese president and cabinet have a domestic audience that they must placate. And by making statements that such as Aoun has instructed the Lebanese army to confront, to challenge any Israeli incursions, is what is expected from someone in his position and someone who is treading a very narrow political tightrope. Nevertheless, we understand that the Trump administration and his ambassador to Lebanon, Thomas Barak, are fully supportive of Israel's incursions against Hezbollah. They are encouraging the Lebanese government to do more, but as I said before, because of the lack of qualified personnel, let's say, in the Lebanese army, that's going to be difficult. And it's clear that what the Lebanese president is saying is naturally to be expected, because he's a politician and he has a domestic audience full, many of whom are Shia Muslims, who in fact support Hezbollah. They may not support the military wing of Hezbollah, although I'm sure many of them do. But politically, I think this was an astute statement from President Aoun, in the knowledge that Israel will continue to, let's say, hurt Hezbollah as and when they see fit. The Lebanese know that, the Syrians know that, the Americans know that, and Israel will not allow Hezbollah to rearm and regroup to the potential it had pre-October 7th.
Yes, Peter Baum, thank you very much for bringing your insights. It's always a pleasure to talk to you on these West Asian matters.